Just down. You are busy. Oh, that's so fun. Good for you.
What's that? And
Coconut's really good.
what's the?
I love
Samoa?
the coconut.
Oh, they've got
Gotta get this one.
Samoa.
She loves the Samoa.
The whole bottom. Anyway, it's a great cook.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock, and so we'd like to go ahead and call this meeting of the Santa Clara City Council to order. It's good to look out there and see a full audience tonight. I'm Mayor Rick Rosenberg. We have a full council present. Councilman Jarrett Waite, Councilman Denny Drake is here, Councilwoman Krista Hinton, Councilwoman Lena Mathis, and Councilman Ben Shakespeare are all here. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. Especially like to welcome the audience, and we appreciate their attendance. Would like to begin the meeting with an opening ceremony and pledge of allegiance. I'd like to get everyone to please rise and salute the flag.
Please follow me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're very grateful for this opportunity we have to meet together as a community tonight. We're so grateful for this wonderful area and for the citizens that give so much to make this community such a great place to live. I'm grateful for city staff and all their hard work, and ask a blessing on this community to continue prospering and continue being a wonderful place to live. We ask for that guidance in this meeting, that will make decisions that will be pleasing to thee and to the citizens, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jarrett. Before we get started in the regular council meeting tonight, council, we do have some special guests in the audience that I'd like to recognize. Snow Canyon men's basketball team is here, the state champs and their coaches. Coach Meacham, come on up and introduce the team to the city council. Be recognized.
Thank you for having us. Any coach knows that you don't win unless you have great players, and more than anything, I'm proud of these guys. And we were just told we were the 4A academic champions also. So you get smart players, it translates over onto the basketball court, and just an unbelievable group to coach. And it starts from the bottom, it starts at the top. Our seniors unbelievable. I mean, I've got 3 of our seniors here, and Walker Morrison here. He's going to actually be going and playing this next year at Bend Community College and continue on with basketball. And we've got Lyman here, Lyman Simmons, who'll be a senior next year. He's a junior. He was our 4A MVP, 4A player of the year. Zach Call is actually an unbelievable senior leader with us. And as you all, if you watch that game, was just ready for any opportunity that he got, made the most of it. And we needed him in that game and had a big part with us throughout the whole season. In fact, he's finishing up with his 2-year degree at Snow Canyon with Dixie State, and he'll get his diploma and his 2-year degree, and he'll probably be here in a couple of years looking for a job as an engineer. Very intelligent, and it's amazing to work with young men like Zach. Carter Murdoch will be a senior next year, and we've got Bowen Hammer here, who first team All-State, and just did a great job for us. And it was interesting this year to have multiple guys on our team get MVP votes. And that was pretty cool to see other coaches and people respecting, our players. A couple of our younger guys and really what they did every single day in practice helped us. These young guys here, and Luke, one of them, Labrum, a player that would come in and be the opponent's offense and help us prepare for a game to game. And so Luke Labrum, and got Bear Levitt here, also will be a senior next year. Caleb Anderson Foreman got a lot of votes for defensive MVP. And, we're trying to convince him to continue to go on and play. We think he'll have a chance to go play, and just really took whatever role we asked of him and just flourished and hit some big free throws down the stretch in a big game. And it was awesome. Will Warner, our point guard, who saved us a few times with some defensive plays, and just a multi-sport guy. And I love multi-sport guys. I love guys that can go and play in another sport and show up. And he does. He'd show up to our skill sessions in his football pants, be able to do both. And that you don't always get that in this day and age. In fact, he's involved in track and helping the track, and help them go win a state championship in track this year. And we're missing Owen Mackey, who is actually competing at a track event tonight also, and he'll be a junior next year. So Cy Meacham, sometimes I might have conversations with his mom, and I tried to tell her, you got a 24-hour rule. He's my son. And so he did a great job in helping us and helped us win a game in the season with some free throws, and did a great job for us throughout the year. Luke Hamlin, again, another competitor, every day in practice made us better and was always ready, and did a great job for us this year. Dre Smith, another underclassman, who will be a junior next year, and Trey Kelch, another underclassman who will continue to help us down the road. So I'm fortunate to be able to be around these guys this last year. It was an unbelievable ride, hard, challenging, but I think, as these guys know, they bought into what we were trying to do as a team, and it never was easy. And it was hard, even when you win games. We only lost 2 games, but it still is challenging with different things and being ready and focusing. And I couldn't have asked for a more rewarding experience. And I'm hopeful that they'll always keep the D on the mountain, because we loved turning it green on that night. So thank you for having us, and really appreciate the support we had through the community. Unbelievable with boosters and people helping us. It takes a lot to run a program and to go to the tournaments that we go to. And one of the big tournaments we did was up Riverton, and it cost a lot of money to bus a bunch of players to go up there. But winning that tournament, I think, set the tone for us preseason to be ready for that one that was down in our backyard. So just proud of these guys. Thank you for having us.
That's awesome. You guys want to join?
Sure.
He's got some
Photo.
the mayor has for you as coaches and team.
It's not that serious.
You're so close. Hey, council, what I want to do first, got the official key to the city. Like to present to you. It's not real big. We're not a real big city. And so it is, but I've only given out about 4 or 5 of these in 15 years. So they're kind of special. Congratulations, coach. Got that for you. You put it in the trophy case.
Hey, Coach. Yeah. You can flip, Aaron. Good, how are you? Yeah. My parents are taking them, so if we're done here, I'll get over there.
By the way, Ben said he can take any one of you one-on-one.
In a game of pick. Or
No, I don't fit among those towers down there. Good Lord. You're welcome. Kyle.
I don't want to listen to this. They're boring.
they're all great meetings. Some of them just last longer than others. Council, with your permission, I'd like to jump down to item C1. We don't have any public hearings scheduled for tonight.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to jump down to item C1, introduction of new employees. We have 2 groups of employees here that we want to take a minute and introduce themselves and recognize them. The police department is here. So you always want to go first? Or I can make you wait till the end. It's your choice.
Well, good afternoon. So Chief Flowers is attending the wake of Sheriff Corey Pulsifer. So he asked if I would step in, but if we want to recognize our new officers, the newest being Officer Kyle Carter, go ahead and stand up. He hails from Enterprise. He lives here in St. George now, but he's an Army Ranger. Served his country doing that. So we're excited to have him. Just graduated post. When did you graduate? April 9th. And then the other one, this is Officer Jeremy Heinz. He grew up in Salt Lake, but he now lives in Washington City. And he's a Spanish speaker and a big asset for us. So we're excited to have him. Yeah, we were looking at these boys and we decided he shouldn't say anything about plans. Well, great. That's all we had. Chief Flowers also asked me to mention to you guys that we're in the process of transitioning over to the new building. And that if mayor or council, whenever you guys are available, he would love for you guys to schedule a tour that you can come over and see that facility and what we're working with. So the invitation is open for you guys.
Great. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Welcome. Appreciate the service that you give the communities. Got any questions for us? Council, you got questions for these guys? The last guy, they made him cry. No, guess not. You got off easy. Thanks, gentlemen. And we got some parks people here too. Bradley?
I'd like to introduce Ryan Hafen. He's our newest Parks employee. Comes from really good stock. I guarantee it.
We can see him out there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you introduce your family and tell us a little bit about yourself. But we're really glad to have him. We're lucky to have him on our team.
Ryan Hafen, that's my beautiful wife, and of course, my mom and dad. My dad is retiring here real soon from the city. I'm married. I have 27 kids. Well, it seems like I have 6, but lived in Santa Clara my whole life. So that's about it.
Oh, great. We appreciate you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
Appreciate it.
There's cake and ice cream for JR on Monday at 12 here at City Hall.
We got a little something for JR too here.
All right, good.
So I want you and JR to come up, Brad. This is basically your goal for your last city council, formal city council meeting. I can ask you to do stuff, right? It's gonna be nice. Come on.
It's hot. It must be hot, Mayor.
They are council, he's the guy that takes care of the downstairs. Does a great job. But he lives really close. And I'm sure if he doesn't get a look on his head, they don't come back. Right, Mary?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you for all your service. Bradley, your party's not till tomorrow, but I want to do it in public, so. Point for you, and remind you of some of the good days at Santa Clara City. You've been awesome, and we're going to miss you. That goes without saying. We're always here. It's not that far from here. They come back over here, so just wanted to say thank you. Your wife as often as I used to, so I'm gonna steal a hug in public. I love her. Congratulations. And cake for Ryan is Monday, is that right? When's JR's cake? Or cake for JR is Monday?
JR's cake is Monday.
Is Monday, okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Let's go back on the agenda, council.
We've got.
Oh, we got new employees back there in the back.
Public Works and Power here as well.
And we got the whole city staff. One grenade could have got the whole bunch.
This is Jake Fry, local Santa Clara boy. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, from here. I rise through markets, my family, so never left, live here still, so.
So your reputation precedes you.
Yeah.
Good hardworking farmer. This is Jerry Bone. He came over from Parks Department.
I'm Jerry Bone. Yeah, I came over from Parks. I live up in Central and loved working for the city when I first started. So great to keep on going. So
it's great to have you guys.
This is Jace Anderson.
Jace Anderson. I live down in Laverkin. Love working here. It's worth the commute every day. And I'm married and I got one little boy.
Awesome. Well, great. Welcome, guys.
We're grateful to have them there, hitting the ground running.
Awesome. Hey, Gary's got his whole department here.
I was gonna make Eric get up so he can get used to this stuff, but
Come on, Eric.
I guess I will. Eric, you want to come up? Eric just loves to get up in front of people just as much as I do. No, I'll introduce. I'll let Eric off the hook, I guess, but We got Thomas Hillstone. He's our apprentice. I'll let him tell a little bit about it.
I'm Thomas Hillstone. I've been here since last August, third step apprentice. And yeah, I really enjoy working here. It's nice.
Great.
And Devin Ryder.
I'm Devin Ryder. I just moved from Idaho and I have 2 little boys and a girl. So yeah, we like it here so far. So
Great. And the big guy in the back?
I really appreciate these guys. We got a really hardworking crew. Yeah, we were shorthanded for quite a while, and I'm so happy to have some good guys. I'm sure Eric is too. To have some good quality workers, and these guys are awesome. I love them to death, and they're awesome workers. Love them. Thanks, guys.
Gary, is this week you've got 2 down on the reservation? Just got back.
Yeah, Thomas and Dan.
Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We got to go and we went to Chinle, Arizona, and we were on the border of New Mexico for a while and then kind of north central Arizona. So we were traveling a lot. We ended up getting 6 people connected. And yeah, we built a lot of power lines and we were paired up with 2 guys from Connecticut. So it's kind of cool working from guys across the country. And yeah, it was awesome.
Those guys from Connecticut probably in culture shock in Chinle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've never I don't know if they've even seen mountains before. It was their first time this far. So yeah, and then the dry heat as well. They said that they'd rather work in the dry heat instead of the humidity. And yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you're just building power lines in the middle of nowhere and then they'd just be a random little house. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate the work that you do, keeping the lights on, making Gary look good. Thank you, Eric. It's always a pleasure, bud. Okay, who's left to introduce? We got the newspaper guy. All right. No public hearings tonight, so we'll go item B, council, the consent agenda. You've got tonight on the agenda for your approval of the claims and minutes, including the April 27th, 2022 regular city council meeting minutes, the April 27th, 2022 executive session minutes, the May 4th, 2022 city council work meeting minutes, and the claims through May 11th, 2022. Calendar of events, we've got a meeting coming up on the 25th. It's going to be a very busy and important meeting. Hopefully everybody's here. Memorial Day holiday is on May 30th. City office will be closed. Our work meeting is on June 1st and the regular city council meeting on June 8th. And then we need to set a public hearing to receive public input regarding the wastewater system update and impact fee analysis for May 25th at 5:05 p.m. And also set a public hearing to receive public input regarding power capital facilities plan and impact fee analysis also for May 25th at 5:05 p.m. He's not looking for a lot of feedback from the first one, I guess. We start the second one right on top of it. But any questions on any of those items, council? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by Lena, a second by Krista to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any question on that motion? This is a money item, roll call vote. Ben?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
My count, the ayes have it 5-0. Thank you, council. Under C, general business, item C2, consider approval of ordinance 2022-09. This is an ordinance amending chapter 17.16, the land use authority. Jim.
Thanks, Mayor. We discussed this with the city council on April 27th, a couple of weeks ago. After that discussion with the city council, we had planning commission the following night on April 28th of 2022, where they held a public hearing and forwarded a positive recommendation to the city council for approval. Staff is recommending that the city council approve the code amendment for chapter 1716 land use authority. I do want to go through a couple slight tweaks as per council comment from our last meeting. We did make a couple revisions. If we go to 1716-060, where we have appeals from land use decisions, there was some question about if the 10th day fell on a weekend or holiday. And the language we added is if the 10th day falls on a weekend or holiday, it will be accepted on the next business day. So that's how we address that. And then the other change we made was to 1716-070 under administrative hearing officer. There was questions about whether or not one hearing officer would do what we need, having the option of a second hearing officer as needed. So we added the language, the city may appoint multiple administrative hearing officers as needed. So we added that sentence. Matt and I had a chance to discuss those two changes, and that's what we have for you tonight. With that, we'd recommend approval, and we're here if you have questions for staff or legal counsel. Thank you.
Hey, council. You've discussed this a little bit. You've heard some of the recent changes. Any questions for Jim? Okay, anybody ready to make a motion?
I move that we approve the ordinance 2022-09, amending chapter 17.16 land use authority as presented and recommended by the planning commission and by staff.
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve ordinance 2022-09 as presented. Motion by Councilman Drake, seconded by Councilman White. Is there any question on that motion, council? This is an ordinance. Roll call. Jarrett?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Thank you, council. The ayes have it 5-0. Item C3, consider approval of ordinance 2022-07, an ordinance amending the Santa Clara City Personnel Policy Manual to add Juneteenth holiday to the holiday list. Brock?
Yeah, so we're adding this in to our personnel policy manual holiday that is now been recognized as a federal holiday and a state holiday through this last legislative session that Governor Cox signed. So we're bringing it before you to add it to our personnel policy manual to recognize Juneteenth as.
Okay, any questions, council? If there's no questions, I would look for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2022-07, adding federal holiday to employee benefits as presented.
Got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Krista, second by Jarrett, to approve ordinance 2022-07 as presented. Any question on the motion? Roll call vote. Jarrett?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Item C4, approval of the Utopia interlocal agreement presented by Brock.
So this actually was on the agenda a few meetings ago, but we didn't have it actually completed. Matt was still in review of that. And so I'll actually have Matt run over the interlocal agreement. But it's been reviewed by Matt and ready to proceed forward with that agreement with Utopia so they can continue to move forward with bringing fiber.
The agreement's pretty straightforward. It governs the construction of the Utopia network here in town. The form that was proposed by Utopia, we actually only made one change, and that was we added a provision that requires each of their service providers that are going to provide service to end users have to come to the city first and obtain a franchise agreement of their own. And that's consistent with what we've done in the past with previous service providers. It's just required that they have a franchise agreement so that just to ensure that the city is being compensated for use of its rights of way. So that was the only change. I think I see Jarrett's looking at it, so it must be highlighted in the version that you have. But beyond that, we just recommend approval.
Okay, any questions for Matt or Brock, council? Okay, you got the agreement before you. Anybody willing to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. That we approve the Utopia interlocal agreement as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Ben and a second by Lena to approve the Utopia interlocal agreement as presented. Is there any question on that motion? Okay, this is an agreement. Let's do roll call on it. Ben?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Benny?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 5-0 to approve the interlocal agreement. Okay, item C5, approval of the dog park lease. Brock?
Yeah, so this is coming back to you. We've had a few discussions on this, on the lease of the city-owned property behind the Clover Patch on that parcel of land that was leased by Southern Utah Dog Sports. As we know, that lease ended, terminated, and now Matt has drawn up another lease for them. And it states that it will be for 1 year for $10 annually, which will renew automatically each year unless it's given notice. So it has an automatic renewal each year for 1 year without prior with 30 days notice. We can terminate that. If Matt has anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I would maybe just add that the reason that we decided to update this lease was because of some questions that had come up regarding the applicability of ADA requirements on that property. And so this lease has some restrictions in it that weren't in the prior agreement, primarily the restriction that they are only permitted to allow use of the property by members of their organization. And with that restriction, that gives the city some protection that doesn't require that the facility to be brought up to ADA standards because it's being used by a private organization and not open to the public. You know, we fleshed it out also in a little beyond what was in the previous agreement. The organization has reviewed this. In fact, Donna Drake, Denny's wife, is involved with them and sent me some feedback and some comments, and actually have incorporated those into this version of the lease. Those comments were specifically that they currently are storing some personal property there. They have a couple of small storage sheds, and those weren't permitted under our original draft. So we revised it so they could keep those sheds there and they could continue to store their organization's property there as long as it's property that's related to the approved use, which is for, you know, the dog agility park. I think that's really it, unless there's any questions about the lease or the approach we're using. It's really just, I think the idea is, you know, it's a property that the city doesn't currently have another use for. So it's an opportunity for them to utilize the property at low cost, for the city not to have to worry about really maintaining it. And we can always terminate the lease on short notice if we decide that we need to use that property for another purpose.
Council, any questions on the dog park lease?
I just want to point out there's the one in the packet isn't the updated version. There should be another PDF open that you can look at that has the red line changes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that the changes that I made based on Donna's feedback actually was just circulated today. So it's different than the one that was in the original packet.
Or this is the one on the screen. Here is the new updated one. Are they any noticed what the changes were?
Yeah, it's just a couple of red line changes. They should be highlighted.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So that one's the one on the sheds. basically says they can continue to maintain those there, but they don't have any other storage rights on the property. And there was one other. Brock,
Like the president's name's different.
oh, that's right. Yeah, we just updated the name of the president who will be signing the lease. I think that was it. Oh, sorry, Jarrett. I'm looking over Jarrett's shoulder again. It's reminding me the other item was they want to be able to lock the gate just to control access to it, which, you know, I didn't see any issue with that. So we included that as well. And that's really it.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Any questions for Matt regarding the lease? Okay, anybody ready to make a motion to approve the dog park lease?
I can make that motion. I move that we approve the dog park lease as presented with the red line changes that were also presented.
And maybe I need to recluse myself because of conflict of interest with my wife being involved.
Probably would be smart that you didn't vote against your wife. Okay, so I've got a motion by Jared. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ben, to approve the dog park lease as presented. Any question on that motion, council? Okay, all in favor, let's do roll call. Ben?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Benny, did you want to vote?
I'd better abstain.
Okay, I have 4 with Councilman Drake abstaining. The dog lease is approved. Thank you, council. Item C6, discussion regarding the Santa Clara Justice Court. You're leaving right at the best item, dude. This is presented by Brock.
So at the work meeting or the end of April, regular city council meeting, we had Mr. Peters from the administrative office of the courts come down and give a little update on the court and the options we had going forward with Judge Armstrong's retirement at the end of this calendar year. So with that, it was sought to brought back for a discussion and just kind of look to see the direction the council wanted to go. Also in that, I would say that probably better to get the process started earlier than later, as it takes some time. So, and some of the questions that were in that was asked about, you know, budgets and revenue and that. And so as we talked about last week and during the budget for next fiscal year, we talked about the current year or the budget going forward was about 318,000, which we're paying just under 50% of that. So it's about $150,000 is our portion of the court budget. And the budget based on kind of this current year's going, I updated it to $225,000 of court revenue, which we would end up with about $112,000. We share 50-50 on the revenue. So if we're paying 150 and we're going to get about 112,000, so the court's costing us about $38,000 of general fund revenue that's not being covered by its own revenue by fines and penalties. So that's fiscal year 23. For the current year, the budget was 304,000 with $200,000 in revenue, which was so 100,000 for us, probably about 140,000 in expenditure, so about 40,000. So it stayed about that same. We are actually to date, though, we've expended 274,000 with 242,000 in revenue. So we're about 121,000 in revenue when we probably our portion of it is only 130,000. So it's almost for us, almost breaking even on the current year so far. And I know that revenue is going to increase. The police have done recently some crosswalk sting, we'll say, or whatnot. Officer Briggs got to go stand in a crosswalk and see if somebody would stop while he was there. So there were a lot of citations and then education was done through that. So things, but anyway, the court does a very good job of not paying for itself completely, but comes very close to it. So that's a little bit of the history from this current year. I can go back to fiscal year 2021 actuals as well. The actuals was 293,000 in expenditures, so about 140,000 would be our portion, with 227 with the revenue, so about 113,000. So again, we're right in that, 30,000 range. So that's kind of the history of where the court has been. So the options we have going forward then, as laid out by Mr. Peters, was one, we dissolve the court. We're done with it and we send it would go to the Washington County Justice Court. That he also stated, if you recall, that we probably would never be able to get a justice court back. It would be gone from Santa Clara. Second option was to suspend it. We could get an MOU with Washington County to take our stuff for a time. At that point, we would just have to come back and show that we have everything in place to start it back up again, and we could, start operating at the justice court at another time. There's that option. And 3 is to continue on and work with the Office of the Courts to hire a new judge that would continue with the court starting in January of 2023. So those are the options we have going forward. And so I'd leave it council for discussion to see direction and some guidance on which way you'd like to go. If we want to renew or continue on with the justice court, as you said, we'll have to get a committee together. We'll work with him, getting a committee put together. As he stated, we'll get that done. If not, we'll go the other way of paperwork to suspend or dissolve. So
what would be our commitment to Washington County if we did dissolve it and put it into their justice court? Do we have an expenditure that will be required by them to take care of that?
Potentially. I want to say back in, it'd been 2012. I think we combined the justice courts with Ivans. I want to say 2013, about right. I don't know if Officer Studley. Was it 2012? I think it was 2013. 12 was police. July was police. I think justice court came like January 1st of 2013, I think, right after. I believe you would have to come up with an agreement, a contract with the justice court, and you would detail if there's a revenue share to what expenditure cost was. That would be something. There was, I believe, Ivan City, when we looked at that, when they came over, they paid for their own prosecutor. So they bore that cost. And I think there was a revenue share from the justice court, but they bore the cost 100% of their prosecutor. And I would venture to say it would be something similar to that. We would have to still pay for our prosecutor, which we do now with Eric Gentry. And then we probably have a revenue share, but would be the same 50-50 that we have with Ivans. I don't know. That would be something we would have to just negotiate.
I think the expenditure would be equal or greater than what we have now to move it into the county, but
Plus the additional costs with the officers having to travel over there and wait over there, and they'd be away from the city.
Yeah, I know that, we do our court, and it's, shifted through the pandemic and things have changed, but people are able to get in and see the judge relatively quick. We're over there. I mean, just on a traffic citation, what I've heard you could be 6 months out just to get in on a traffic citation, where we try to get people in and out through the system pretty quick. So it would be definitely a increased burden upon those who are issued a citation here, and that would be some of our residents of Santa Clara and Ivans. And then, as you said, for our officers of the time that they would have to spend over there versus here. So
One of the questions that he said that we could consider was the number of our residents that actually are using the court versus however many we get from other places. Any idea what that breakdown is?
no, we could get some reports ran. It does break it down. The report I get breaks it down what was done in Santa Clara and what was Ivans, but doesn't break it down. The report that I get out of city versus in city residents, it doesn't break it down to that point, but might be able to. I'd have to talk with Lisa, the court clerk, and see if there's a report in their software that can do that.
Other questions, comments, council?
maybe just a comment. First is, why are we putting Briggs in the crosswalk? I mean, next time you do that, I'll go out there. We can't afford to lose you guys. So I'll hold a Mountain Dew. They'll stop when somebody's holding a Mountain Dew, Mayor. But I put a lot of thought in after hearing the cost. That was my initial, what's the cost versus the benefit? Obviously, this is something that I think benefits both cities, and I think the cost is minimal for the return we get back. Once I heard those numbers, to me, it was a no-brainer that we move that direction and continue the court, especially when you realize that we've got something that you couldn't get again.
Right.
Both cities are growing. I think there's a benefit to Ivans. I gotta believe if we asked Ivans City their input, they would want to keep the court as well. I think the benefit to have it right here locally. And again, we could ticket more and raise those revenues. And I think I'm not saying we do that. I certainly, you say that, and I don't want that any more than anybody. But I think a $40,000 deficit to have a court here locally is something good. So that's where I would lean, and I got to believe that Ivans would feel the same.
Anybody else?
I'll just add, if you look up the Google reviews of our justice court, they're very different from the Washington County Justice Court. And I visited that court recently as part of Leadership Dixie, and it's a very different feel than what's right here. I know it's all been online for a while, but when we get back to in person, this is much less imposing, much more friendly than the facility they have over there. So just that alone would be something to really consider for our citizens.
Good point. Good point. I got a question for Officer Studley. When you guys moved to Ivans, does this button still work?
Say what?
When you guys are moved to Ivans, does this button still work?
Your panic button?
Uh,
It absolutely should. It goes straight to dispatch.
So it doesn't go up there and you don't drop down through the ceiling?
Like a ninja on a rope.
That's what they told me.
We'll try. But we'll need EMS when I hit. We probably ought to try that one day just to make.
I mean, I have come so close in a couple of public hearings to pushing it just to see what happened. But it's still gonna work. You guys will still be here pretty quick, right? Okay. Otherwise, it moves off. Okay, council, I think I'm hearing a majority of the council wants to continue the court. So we go ahead and write the letter to Mr. Peters and give him that direction.
Sure.
You'll take care of that?
Yes.
Awesome. Don't need a motion? Okay, done. You can go now if you want. Okay, mayor and council reports, man.
None.
Lena,
I have none.
Krista?
I have none.
Oh, baby. Benny?
I certainly have none.
Jarrett?
Sorry, I'll break the streak. I do have something. We had a CEC meeting yesterday, and we hired a new part-time station manager. He also runs the radio stations for the university. So I think it's just like a $10,000 a year stipend just to help the board. And the current manager is just moving to a production role with the station, which is what he actually wants to do. He never liked being totally in charge. And so should be a really good move for the station just to get a new vision and working on a new name, and things are going well there. So
good.
That's all I have.
That is good. We're waiting. I'm trying to think of the mayor's stuff. There's been quite a bit of it, but we had a call today with UAMPS and Pacificor related to the start date for the generators. There is some paperwork that needs to happen. There was quite a bit of concern on being able to start the generators as soon as they were ready, and we wanted to, just based on some regulations and some reporting requirements that have to happen in the regional grid when we fire up new generation over 5 megawatts. I think based on the call today that I have less of a concern With that being able to happen, I think they're going to be able to work out an agreement that can go parallel to the reporting requirements. Since we've had the generation before, the communications with the grid are all in place. There's a station, what do they call it, Gary?
St. George is kind of the main hub where all of our generation is kind of ran through their office. And so Pacific Core can see what everybody's generation do is like Hurricane City, Washington City, and ours. There's a link there where they can see. I think they were under the impression that we did not have that already until they started looking at it during the meeting. It says, oh yeah, we can see Santa Clara through St. George. So I think that kind of resolved the biggest issue, I think, was their communication with us.
We're going to follow up with UAMPS and with Rachel there, and she's putting together an agreement with PAC. So we should be, hopefully we're going to be okay. We'll be back to you if something changes that way. There's a lot of conversation with the water district going on about will serve letters and how to deal with will serve letters. There has not been a decision yet. And as of today, nobody is still issuing will serve letters. So depending on, there's a meeting going on right now up to the water district office talking about it. So I'll let you know what they say. We may go back and tweak that statement that's in our ordinance right now that requires those since they don't formally exist. The district doesn't want to give them, and I'm not sure the city wants to give them either. And so it may be a pay your impact fee type of deal until the district gets some stuff put together. So I'll keep you in the loop on that as well. I think those are the two big ones, Brock. Anything else I'm missing? Okay, does the staff have anything tonight? Brad, any last words? Okay, all right, we'll expect them tomorrow then.
Yeah, just remember that tomorrow,
Tomorrow is Brad's luncheon at noon. Hopefully everybody will be there. Should be a good time. So we don't have executive session tonight?
No.
All right. Then I'm gonna make it to my grandkids' soccer game, first one of the year. They've been on every Wednesday and I'm gonna make it tonight, so I'm happy. I need a motion to adjourn, council.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Ben and a second by Lena. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or is welcome to stay.
So Mayor, that takes our average meeting time down to 3 hours a meeting after our work meeting.
Yeah. Work meetings are killers.
It's like we